Welcome to Monster Trail Cams, your eerie outpost in the digital wilderness. This is the one-stop hub where we bring the unknown and the unexplainable right to your screen. Our channel uncovers mysterious creatures and spine-chilling sights from every corner of the globe, captured on our network of trail cameras. Through storm or shine, day or night, our lenses stay vigilant so you can experience the thrill of the strange and the extraordinary. Remember, here at Monster Trail Cams, you never know what might creep into frame, so brace yourself and join us as we explore the world's unseen mysteries. Let's take a look at something a little more lighthearted for a minute. While this channel mostly features paranormal footage, we like to feature all sorts of interesting trail cam encounters. Take these black bears, for example. Did you know that black bears are often brown in color, and brown bears can, in fact, be black? The best way to tell the difference between a black bear and a brown bear is to look at their shoulders. Brown bears, also known as grizzly bears, have a large hump on their shoulders. Black bears do not. One of these black bear cubs notices the trail cam capturing their outing and does its very best to dismantle the camera. However, the little bear is unsuccessful in its attempt. While these little bears might look cute and cuddly, they are anything but. It's true most black bears are afraid of humans and will avoid them if given the chance. I don't know about you, but I'd almost rather run into a Bigfoot out on the trail if I had a choice. Sometimes the natural world can be just as frightening as the paranormal one. Here we see footage of two dogs alert and barking at something just out of frame. A third brave dog is out of frame as well, confronting the intruder. In a split second, the dogs all retreat, and what comes into the scene might just be more terrifying than any ghost. Alligators can move with surprising speed and agility. Luckily, the dogs were quick on their feet and fled as soon as the reptile charged. This just goes to show how dangerous nature can be if you aren't paying attention. Check out this next image taken from a trail cam set up on a clearing in the forest. Instead of capturing any of the many wild creatures on their travels through the woods, this camera captured this strange phenomenon. Whatever its true nature, it somehow caused the motion sensors in the camera to go off and snap a photo. Could this simply be a camera glitch, or are we looking at something supernatural? By all appearances, this looks like a stack of orbs lined up vertically down the frame. Orbs are often considered as signs of a paranormal presence or electromagnetic energy. However, they very rarely align themselves in an organized form. That begs the question, are these in fact orbs? Or could we be looking at something else entirely? Your guess is as good as mine. I'd like to believe we are looking at a supernatural occurrence in this strange photo, but first we have to rule out any possible camera malfunctions that could have caused the phenomenon featured in this forest photo. We'll definitely investigate this one further, but in the meantime, what are your thoughts? Have you ever seen anything like this before? Tell your experiences in the comments. We have another incredible wildlife video for you featuring these two elk. Oftentimes, we get people claiming to have heard a Bigfoot calling in the woods that don't have much knowledge of local wildlife. The call of a bull elk can echo through the trees, creating an eerie sound, especially if you hear it at night. Elk are formidable creatures and can be quite aggressive during the fall rut when they are looking for females. In fact, I might just rather run into a Bigfoot than a testosterone-fueled bull elk. It's safest to view these impressive creatures from behind a trail cam. Our next clip was submitted by someone who made the timeless mistake of investigating the strange noise outside their home well after dark. Not the brightest move, but it does make for good footage. Let's take a look. We can see the person walking in pursuit of the creature, but we aren't able to see it. However, listen close for a moment. Likely in an attempt to frighten the cameraman away, the creature lets out a low growl that turns into a shriek. Could this screaming creature be something from the supernatural realm? It's always a possibility we have to consider, but after reviewing the audio multiple times, this scream sounds an awful lot like that of an angry bobcat. Is the camera person in this video chasing down a wild bobcat in the street? While it may not be of a paranormal nature, this certainly isn't much safer. While bobcats may seem small, they are known for being temperamental, and with those long claws, I wouldn't take a chance with one any more than I would with a cryptid. Luckily, the person who shot this video went inside shortly after they heard the scream. Smart move. Take a listen at this audio recorded at a truck stop near the backwoods of Oregon.
Starting to regret that I stopped at this rest stop. And they say big.
The area is known for its Bigfoot sightings, so we can make an educated guess on who this voice belongs to. If this video is authentic, it's an impressive recording. We can hear the creature loud and clear, and unfortunately for the trucker, it sounds to be quite close. Luckily, the creature stayed in the forest that night, and the man resumed his highway journey early the next morning. With the advancements in cell phones over the past several years, we are getting more and more irrefutable video and audio footage that Bigfoot does actually exist in our world. Hopefully, one day we will be able to find a specimen to study, but until that point, we will have to piece together evidence and try to get a picture of the creature's life and habits as best we can. We've reviewed a fair amount of audio submissions on this channel, but I'd like to hear your thoughts on this one. We have a clip of footage taken from a home security camera that captures a bone-chilling scream. This voice doesn't sound like any human nor animal that I know of. Again, we know that foxes are often mistaken for screaming women, but this is no fox that we are hearing. So what could it be? The study of cryptids is a difficult one. We have to make do with the little evidence we can capture and try to learn what we can. We know Bigfoot often vocalizes in the forest, but this doesn't sound like a Bigfoot in the slightest. Could it be a crawler? Or perhaps some shapeshifter or dark shaman? Let us know what you think the screamer's identity is in the comments. We leave the snowy woods and head to a suburb just outside of Houston, Texas, and find the strange beast walking through someone's backyard in the middle of the day. If you're well versed in cryptids, you'll likely identify the creature as a chupacabra, the fabled vampiric canine that preys on pets and livestock, draining them of blood but not consuming the flesh. Reports of this creature all claim it hunts at night, but this animal is clearly out in the light of day. Are we actually looking at a chupacabra, or is there a more logical explanation here? Sightings of chupacabras have mostly been debunked as animals with mange, specifically canines such as stray dogs and sick coyotes. Creatures suffering from mange can have frightening appearances, making it easy to mistake their identities as something more sinister than the reality. As each of us are paranormal investigators to some degree, we have to explore all avenues. What do you think the creature in the photo is? Let us know in the comments. A trail cam caught this video of a deer behaving strangely. It is jumping and bouncing in circles for seemingly no reason. Not everything on this channel has a paranormal explanation. We showcase all kinds of odd and unexplainable videos. What do you think is going on with this deer in the video? Sometimes deer suffer from chronic wasting disease and brainworm, but they typically have symptoms such as circling, head tilting, and an inability to balance. They don't often move quickly like this deer is doing, so what could be wrong with it? Is something external causing the deer to behave in such a way? Let us know if you have any ideas. Next, we have a few seconds of footage of a white-tailed buck passing by a trail cam, and while he might seem to be the star of the show, he is not the reason we are reviewing this footage today. Take a look at the orbs hovering in the center of the screen. There are 3 of them, organized from large to small across the frame. As we know, orbs are a sign of a paranormal presence in the area. We don't know the exact nature of orbs, but most paranormal professionals agree that they are the manifestation of energy from beyond the veil. But that then begs the question, what are they doing in this forest? Are there spirits living there? Or perhaps it's just a glitch in the trail cam. Your guess is as good as mine. Next, we head to a more exotic location to discuss a creature called a fossa. It is the largest carnivore on the island of Madagascar. It is reddish-brown in color and exhibits an extremely long tail. If you were to compare it to a North American mammal, I would say it resembles a small cougar. However, these creatures are only found in Madagascar, or so we thought. There have been sightings of a creature matching the description of the fossa across North America. Some of these sightings have been as far north as Minnesota. Whenever these sightings were reported, however, they were told by authorities that they were mistaken and fed multiple theories that might explain the encounter. Could there have been a population of these Madagascar mammals that have been released in North America, or could we be looking at a yet undiscovered species sharing its characteristics? As we know, anything is possible. I'd like you to take a look at these dinosaur tracks that have been preserved in the earth for millions of years. We know dinosaurs existed back then because we have evidence in the form of bones, fossils, and tracks. These gigantic beasts were theorized to have been all killed in a massive extinction event caused by a meteor hitting Earth and creating an environment on the planet unsuitable for life. The dinosaurs all died out and created a space for mammals to take over as the dominant species on land. However, what if I told you that not all of Earth's dinosaurs had been killed in the extinction event? We don't have any footage for this next story, but it deserves a spot here regardless. We received an email from a man living on a ranch in Arizona who had been having trouble with animals harassing his livestock after dusk. The man had just moved to the area a few months ago and wasn't familiar yet with the local wildlife. He tried everything to find out what was bothering his herd, but could not catch the culprit. Trail cams, traps, blinds, everything. These creatures were smart. He had almost given up until one night he finally saw the creatures in the sky. He said they weren't like any type of bird he had ever seen. They were a little larger than a condor, but they had reptilian characteristics on their face and legs. He claimed they were some type of dinosaur. His isn't the only story of winged dinosaurs being sighted in the desert after dark. If you do a quick search, you can find dozens of stories just like this one, all claiming that dinosaurs might not be extinct after all. Let us know what you think about all of this. We start today's video off with an unnerving photograph taken from a trail cam located deep in the Rhode Island woods. We're confronted with a large bipedal creature covered in black hair. While there are definitely some similarities to Bigfoot, the creature we are looking at is far more sinister. Focus your attention to its face. It appears to be a goat or a ram's head. Not much is known about this particular cryptid. There have been sightings of goatmen across the United States as far back as the 1800s, but they are few and far between. Most of the reports originate from the East Coast, with a few sighting in southern states across the years. Some experts believe the creatures to be fawns of satyrs, while others claim the reports to be a hoax. Let us know what you think about this mysterious cryptid in the comment section. Our next clip comes from a fearless camper who left the safety of his camper trailer to search for a creature that had been tormenting him since he put his fire out at sundown. The man was camping alone with just a tent to protect him the weather and any pesky rodents that might come around in search of food. Unfortunately, he was about to encounter a whole lot more than he bargained for. At first, it was just a tapping sound on the trees. The man mistook it for a woodpecker, or perhaps a squirrel caching acorns in the night. The tapping noise was replaced by a clicking. The man said the sound was unnatural, not something you would expect to find in the woods. When the clicking didn't elicit a response, it became a whistle. And not a bird whistle. No, a human whistle. It was at this point the man realized it was another human outside that was messing with him. He, angry, got out of his tent and yelled at the suspect and heard them retreat into the woods. Without thinking, he chased the person into the forest, and as a result, we have this unnerving video. I'm not sure what he was thinking. We know by the nature of this channel that he is likely about to encounter some sort of cryptid or supernatural being, but even if that were not the case, it is definitely not advised to confront anyone in the woods after dark, human or otherwise. The man chases down his quarry armed only with a camera and a flashlight, and when he finally catches up with it, he gets the surprise of his life. The footage had to be zoomed in to get a decent look at the creature. But even with the poor quality, we can still easily identify this frightening cryptid. Pale skin, a ghoulish face, and scrawny limbs that appear too long and awkward for its body. We are looking at none other than a crawler, and our camper is lucky to have escaped this encounter with his life. We don't know much about the lives of crawlers, but we do know they are often encountered trying to lure people into the woods. I can't imagine anything good happens after that. It is widely known that crawlers live in caves and heavily forested areas. They seem to be mostly, if not entirely, nocturnal. Certain members of the paranormal community theorize that crawlers could be responsible for the high number of missing persons in wilderness areas, but nothing has been able to be confirmed. I'd like to draw your attention to this viral video that's been circulating around the internet. It almost seems too wild to be true, but you can draw your own conclusion after we examine it further. We have a group of motorcyclists driving along a road after dark when they come upon a strange figure walking along the road. The figure is thin, pale, and completely bald. It walks upright and does not appear to be bothered at all by the motorcycles passing by. The footage of the creature isn't very clear, but we can tell it is not wearing clothes and doesn't appear to have any external genitalia. It fits the description of extraterrestrials known as greys. These are the type of aliens from the many reports of abductions, but they are not often seen wandering around the Earth. So this is a strange encounter, to say the least. If this footage is authentic, what is this being doing? Why is it walking along a road after dark? If we are looking at an alien, what is its purpose here, and why does it not interact with the motorcyclists? Our next video takes us into the jungles of South America as we follow along on a herping adventure-turned-monster hunt. Herping has become quite a popular hobby as of late, and often brings people outside after dark in hopes of finding harmless species of snakes, lizards, and amphibians. It's almost like nature's version of an Easter egg hunt. It's no surprise why so many people are getting involved. However, you better be careful out there, or you just might stumble upon something unexpected in the dark night. And that is exactly what happened to this group. They were recording their adventure when suddenly they came upon a frightening creature. It is skinny, pale, and appears to be completely hairless. Its body is the form of a human, but it is clearly something else. If I didn't know better, I'd say this was a crawler, although there are no reports of crawlers inhabiting jungle habitats. Most stories of crawlers originate in North America. It wouldn't be too much of a stretch to believe these creatures have expanded their range and moved further south. There is certainly enough plant cover and cave systems that they could keep themselves hidden from most of society. It is interesting to note that this creature appears to have been caught off guard by the herping group and flees into the thick jungle brush. Most reports we've heard of crawlers involve them waiting in the woods for humans or trying to lure them off trail. That does not appear to be the case here. It makes me question this creature's true identity. Let us know if you have any ideas. We'll look into the folklore surrounding the area, and if we manage to find any more information, we'll feature the video again. But until then, let us know your theories in the comments section. We could use your help identifying the creature in the next clip. This video was taken by a runner who had ventured onto a new route along the road of a local park. They found a creature lying down along the edge of the road and immediately stopped. Obviously, the runner didn't want to approach this creature in the event it was dangerous, but what exactly is it? It almost looks like it has the head of a black bear, but it seems too small for its body. I am doubtful we are looking at a cryptid in this video, but this creature remains quite the mystery. If the creature stood up, we might be able to get an ID. The runner didn't investigate the creature further and turned back without incident. While likely the smart move in this situation, this creature leaves us perplexed. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. What do you think we are looking at here? Take a look at this strange situation. We have a trail cam facing what appears to be bear bait hanging from a tree. It is clear this camera was meant to capture any large predators hanging around the area, but it found something quite unexpected. We have what looks to be a human approaching the bait. They are dressed in white robes of some sort and dragging a black trash bag. While this may not be paranormal in nature, it is certainly very strange. Why is this person in the forest at night? Why are they dressed entirely in white, and what is in the trash bag? If they were doing something with the bear bait, the middle of the night is not the ideal time to do it. And why the strange clothes? Now, sometimes when you see bait hanging above the forest floor, you have to be aware of wolf pits. These are illegal in most areas, but that doesn't always stop people from building them. If you are unfamiliar, a wolf pit is a large hole dug in the earth. The hole is then filled with sharpened spikes, and brush is placed over the top to conceal it. Bait is hung over the pit so animals will fall in trying to get an easy meal. It's no surprise why these things are illegal. Maybe the person in white was intending to save an animal from a terrible fate by investigating the bait to see if there was a wolf pit beneath it. Your guess is as good as mine on this one. This is definitely an odd capture, so much so that it might just be paranormal in nature. Sometimes reality is stranger than fiction. Let us know what you think in the comments. Here we have another trail cam video of predator versus prey. Look at that coyote, frozen motionless on the rock as it watches an opossum head towards a cave. The opossum clearly knows something is up, but it's unclear if it can see the coyote from that angle. The coyote, on the other hand, is fixated on its prey. Trail cams provide invaluable insight into the lives of wildlife that we would otherwise be unable to view. It appears in this video that the opossum escapes into the cave and evades the coyote for the time being. If you look closely, you can see two eyes reflecting light from the camera as the coyote searches for the little creature. Whether the coyote catches its prey this time is unknown. In case you were worried about the supernatural creatures hiding in the forest, here's a video that shows just how frightening the natural world can be. A rare few people get to experience nature in all its glory. We've all heard stories of the big bad wolf living in the woods, but how many of us have actually seen one? This man out hiking with his dog is unknowingly in for the surprise of his life, as well as a reminder of just how terrifying the world's apex predators can be. Focus on the black form in the center of the screen. The quality of the footage is poor, but it looks to be some sort of creature standing there in between the trees. And then suddenly, it leaps up and we see the creature's true size as it takes after the barking dog. And that is no small dog either, but the wolf dwarfs it completely. It goes to show just how large wolves and other predators actually are. Those lucky enough to see a wolf in the wild are often taken aback by their sheer size. And did you notice how the canine went from lying on the ground to a dead sprint in less than a second? Fortunately, the man and his dog escaped the encounter unharmed, as the wolf chose to flee instead of fight. Check out this strange scene. We received this clip with no context, so we'll have to do a close examination and try to find out what is going on. The first thing that grabs our attention is the white form falling into the water. At first, this looks like a person, but when it hits the water, it dissipates as if it were made of mist. And then, a moment later, it emerges from the depths, and we see what appears to be a face. After viewing the footage several times, it seems unlikely that this is simply a person dressed in flowing white clothes. Parts of the creature are translucent, suggesting it could be something from the spirit realm. Though this would be the first time I've seen a ghost go swimming, if that is indeed what we are looking at. While the ghost in the water is the star of this show, I'd like to turn your attention to the woman sitting on the other side of the bridge. We've watched this video multiple times, and she doesn't move even once during the clip, suggesting that she isn't what she appears to be either. So what exactly is going on here? Your guess is as good as mine. Does the ghostly spirit in the water have something to do with the unmoving woman on the side of the bridge? Could we be witnessing her out-of-body experience? Leave a comment and let us know your ideas. We have one more potential crawler encounter to review. This was taken by a woman out for a walk along a rural road near her home. She had been hearing strange noises and, believing someone to be following them, the woman took out their phone and started recording. Initially, she was afraid it was a deranged person, which would be quite the dangerous situation and not unheard of in rural areas, but then something else came into view. At first, it was just a flash of white, but you can see it more clearly when the camera operator focuses in on it. It is the general shape of a human, but ghostly white and naked. The owner of the video said the creature's details did not show up well on camera, but she described it to us. She said it was pale and ghoulish. Its eyes were too large for its head and its face resembled a skull. Its body was skin and bones with visible ribs and hips. Her description definitely fits that of a crawler. But do you think this video is real or not? The creature seems to be a little too white against the background, but anything is possible. Here we have some more strange footage for you to review. There wasn't much of a story to go along with this, so we'll have to examine it to find out what is going on. We can see what appears to be some type of statue or shrine in the woods, or perhaps just a very still person playing a trick on the cameraman. And then again, we could be looking at a ghost. It is difficult to tell what exactly is going on considering the poor quality of the footage. If you have any ideas, tell us in the comments. The figure in the frame is dressed entirely in white, likely wearing a long robe of some sort. Its head seems to be under a hood. Suddenly, the robes the figure is wearing move in the wind. This seems to frighten the cameraman, meaning we aren't simply looking at a person wearing a robe. This is something he did not expect to move. I don't know what's more terrifying. The possibility that we are looking at a moving statue or a ghostly apparition. What are your thoughts? Our last clip of the day is something quite disturbing. We have two wild canines, one fox and one wolf, both of whom met extremely unfortunate ends. Both of these magnificent beasts have been frozen by the unforgiving winter weather. We cannot say for certain if the weather was the cause of their deaths, but it certainly preserved them in a disturbing manner. But such is nature. Let me take you to a little town in Argentina. Here in a rural field, we have something totally unexplainable. You can see it clear as day in the center of the screen. But what is anyone's guess. What we can tell from the footage is that it appears to be a humanoid being of some sort. You can see the outline of a head, torso, arms, and legs. We can't see any discernible features on its face because its whole body appears to be glowing. Now, what could this thing be? Is it a ghost? Maybe an angel? Or are we looking at some sort of optical illusion or camera malfunction? Your guess is as good as mine on this one. There are no known cryptids or paranormal beings that are reported to take the form we are looking at here, except maybe those from religious texts. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. What are we looking at here? Or is this just an elaborate fake? Next up, we have a video clip of a person standing on a hill. The problem with this image? If we take into account the size of the hill and the size of the person standing atop it, we are most certainly looking at a giant straight out of traditional European folklore. If you are thinking this might be a Bigfoot, it is certainly a possibility. The creature does seem rather robust and fits the build of a Bigfoot, but if that were the case, this Bigfoot is extremely tall. It is more likely that we are looking at some type of giant, if you believe such things. Reports of giants living among humans have been told since the beginning of human history. In some tales, they are their own separate species, while in others, they are simply humans that reach unnatural heights due to genetic mutations. While we have documented cases of gigantism in humans, they are few and far between. The reports we hear of giants in the paranormal community often speak of solitary individuals that inhabit mountainous and heavily forested areas. These creatures seem to make a point to stay away from humans, but sometimes they are spotted. Often they have descriptions similar to that of Bigfoot or of the Yeti. Quite possibly we could be looking at the species, but their identities will remain a mystery until we can produce concrete evidence of their existence. For now, we'll have to settle for video and audio captures. Let us know if you think giants are real, or are we looking at something else here? Our next Bigfoot encounter takes us south into California. While maybe not your first thought when you think of ideal Bigfoot habitat, California has its fair share of sightings of the primate. We see the creature walking through the dense brush as the cameraman tries to stay hidden as he records the encounter. It has all the hallmarks of a Bigfoot. A large, bipedal, ape-like creature seen roaming deep in the wilderness. It's interesting to note that while Bigfoot is clearly a primate of some sort, it seems to prefer traveling on two legs. Ape and gorillas often alternate between the use of two legs and four, while we very rarely, if ever, see Bigfoot using its arms to walk. Does this mean Bigfoot is the missing evolutionary link between humans and apes, or are we looking at an entirely different species? Your guess is as good as mine. We won't be able to tell for certain until we can get a DNA sample from a Bigfoot specimen. Until then, speculation will have to do. Take a look at this strange clip. We have a camera clip of someone who appears to be running across the frame on freshly fallen snow. The way the person moves indicates we are looking at a human, but it is so dark that we are only able to make out the outline of the person. As the person is running, they suddenly fade from the video, as if they weren't even there in the first place. Could this simply be a glitch in the camera, or did we just witness a spirit darting across the frame? If we take another look at the person, they appear to be entirely black, like a shadow. No clothing can be identified, making it more likely that we are witnessing something supernatural. But what are your thoughts? Is this just a camera glitch, or did we just see a ghost? We have a still image reportedly taken from a trail cam in Michigan. The creature bears a striking resemblance to a silverback gorilla. We know there are no gorillas roaming the wild forests of Michigan, so we can assume this creature is supposed to be a Bigfoot, but I'm not convinced. Most reports of Bigfoot claim the creature to have brown fur and more human-like proportions. This creature's legs are simply not long enough. We can't see the beast's face, so we are unable to compare it to other reports of the creature. Unfortunately, this is the only image captured by the trail cam. There are no other angles to examine. What are your thoughts? Is this Bigfoot, an edited fake, or perhaps another species of bipedal primate roaming the North American woods? We take a break from the paranormal for a minute to look at some equally incredible trail cam footage showcasing just how impressive the natural world really is. It is a truly rare occurrence to witness a wolf in the wild, let alone an entire pack. Trail cams let us get a glimpse of the world outside that we often would not have the chance to see otherwise. Watch these wolves effortlessly float across the snow. Winter is for the wolves. They are adept at hunting prey in harsh weather conditions and excessive snowpack. In fact, wolf packs often do better during the winter months than they do in the summer. This footage was such an incredible find that we had to share it with you on the channel. We've seen this particular image on the channel before. We still don't know quite what it is, but speculation was that it was some type of reptile, possibly even a dinosaur, or perhaps a species escaped from a zoo or someone's pet that got too large and was unceremoniously released into the wild. That actually happens more than you would think. People buy monitor lizards when they are cute little babies, not thinking about what will happen when they finally grow up. They get too large to house, and instead of taking the poor creature to a rescue, the careless owner simply releases it outside to fend for itself. After publishing the last video, we had 2 viewers contact us about this creature's possible identity. The first thought it was likely a monitor lizard that had been released and was doing poorly in the wild, hence the diseased-looking skin on the creature. The other viewer thought it was likely an iguana, similarly with some type of skin condition. In both cases, the viewers mentioned that this creature was likely sick and in need of help. We are still unable to make a positive identity of this poor creature, but we'd like to hear your thoughts on it. Here we have an innocent video of a couple of boys roasting s'mores at a backyard campfire. Seem wholesome enough? Maybe not. Take a look at the forest in the background. You can clearly see the form of a bipedal creature running through the woods. Now maybe this is a person, but look again. It appears to be covered in dark brown hair. A large bipedal hairy primate? My guess is those boys just missed a Bigfoot encounter. But like most of the Bigfoot videos we feature on here, Bigfoot is fleeing the scene. There is little to no evidence that Bigfoot has ill intentions towards humans. Of course, we have heard reports of angry Bigfoots defending their territories from perceived invaders, but even then, they are limited to throwing rocks and tree branches. Attacks on humans are extremely rare. It seems the old adage might be true in this case, that Bigfoot is more afraid of us than we are of it. Here we have some still frames taken from a rather shaky video. We've tried to enhance them for better viewing quality, but there just wasn't much to work with. What we can tell for certain is that the creature is covered in black fur and appears to be capable of moving on both 2 legs and 4. However, its identity remains a mystery. In each frame, the creature looks a little different. It's as if it were a mashup of several different animals. For example, from one angle, the creature's head appears to be that of a pig. In other angles, it looks strikingly similar to a canine or even a bear. Could this be a new cryptid, or perhaps it was someone's experiment that got loose from whatever holding facility was keeping it secret? We didn't get much information accompanying the video submission. It simply said, "You need to see this." But let us know your thoughts. Is this a fake? Could it be real? And if so, what kind of creature are we looking at? Take a look at this footage taken from the front of a UTV driving a long trail in the woods of Michigan. The owner of this video said they were heading to their backwoods campsite after a day of off-roading in the area. The campground was only accessible by foot or by UTV, and they were the only ones there that weekend, being it was so late in the year. It is difficult to see, so watch closely. Far ahead of the vehicle, you can see something pale cross the road. It appears to be a man, hunched over and wearing a long robe or coat, just as ghostly white as he is. Now, maybe it's just a glitch in the camera. It is night, after all, and cameras can struggle to create accurate pictures in less than ideal circumstances. However, there's a little more to this story that might suggest we just witnessed a ghost. This particular area has been rumored to be haunted since the late 1800s, when the child of a farmer met a grisly end on the nearby train track. The girl was only 14, and her father was never able to accept her death. He wouldn't view her body after she was recovered and was convinced she had run away instead. His family fell apart and he was diagnosed with psychosis. The legend says he went out every night searching for her until old age made him unable to walk, and he finally died soon thereafter. And while the girl was the one who died in the area, it is her father that haunts the road you see here in this video. Our next submission is a still image taken from a trail cam in Colorado. This will be an interesting one to review. We can clearly see the frightening humanoid creature standing in the frame with glowing eyes and pale skin. This creature matches the eyewitness accounts from people who have encountered crawlers and rakes, but the image seems off for some reason. The outline of the creature is blurred. We sometimes see that of images of ghosts or spirits, but it's not a phenomenon associated with cryptids. Are we looking at a fake, or could there be some other explanation? Your guess is as good as mine, but I can't say I'm convinced on this one. I've heard enough evidence over the years to believe in the existence of cryptids, but there are a lot of fakes out there created by people trying to gain traction on social media. Our first image today is a still capture from a trail cam. The camera had been recording video footage of innocent passers-by in the forest, but then it caught a glimpse of something else. But only a glimpse. The still image you see here was the only discernible footage retrieved from the video, and it appears to be none other than the elusive Bigfoot. Unfortunately, the image isn't clear enough to get a detailed view of its face, but we can clearly see that the creature walks in the form of a man and is covered in thick, dark hair. We have quite a few Bigfoot submissions on this channel, and all of the footage of the creature has similar characteristics, but we have yet to get concrete evidence of its existence. We know Bigfoots have been spotted all over North America, and stories of the creature date back to Native American legends. And yet, we aren't quite sure what exactly it is. We'd love to hear your thoughts. My own opinion is that we're dealing with a very shy species of large primate that prefers to keep itself away from humans to the best of its ability. Since the beginning of human history, there have been encounters with the supernatural. Before scientific advancements created the world we know today, these experiences were often explained away as the work of religious deities and spirits that inhabited the mysterious earth. Sometimes they were even blamed on curses and witchcraft. Myth and monsters were an accepted part of everyday life. In today's world of science and logic, many professionals scoff at those who dare look for the concrete evidence that there is something else out there. Might this next clip be the proof we need to break the veil? Let's take a look. We have a security camera that captures two frightened stray dogs as they flee from something unseen. Watch the footage back and you can clearly see what they are running from. At first, it just looks like a shadow at the edge of the screen. While it remains mist-like, it appears to take on some sort of form as it moves down the alley, as if it were a living shadow. The being's identity remains a mystery. Whatever it is, the two dogs intrinsically knew to stay out of its way. It's possible that we are simply looking at a ghost trapped here amongst the living, but the reaction of those dogs suggests it could be something more sinister. Tell us your thoughts, and let us know in the comments if you've ever had a paranormal experience yourself and what happened. Did others believe your story? Let's head to a quaint little vacation cabin in western Washington. Not far from Olympic National Park, a known hotspot for Bigfoot sightings. The Pacific Northwest appears to be a favorite habitat of the elusive primate. The owner of this image had been hearing strange vocalizations outside his cabin at night. They didn't sound like any type of animal he knew to be in the area. The man was an avid hunter, so he knew the local fauna well. The nights leading up to this photographic encounter had yielded some damage to the cabin and surrounding structures. The woodpile had been knocked over and strewn across the yard. There were scratches at the doors and windows, and finally, a large tree in the front yard was uprooted and pushed over. There had been no wind or storms the night before. The man thought he was dealing with a large bear, but the strange vocalizations didn't match his theory. Finally, the creature was brave enough to approach the house, and this image was the result. Obviously, the man was unwilling to go outside to get a better photograph, but you can still see the creature's face clearly, even though the image was taken through a window. In fact, this may be the clearest image of a Bigfoot we've yet seen. Its face resembles a great ape, but there is something else there. Something that makes the creature almost human. Its eyes reflect the light of the camera, giving it an unnaturally frightening appearance. However, we have to consider this could be a fake. It might just be someone outside in a mask trying to get a scary image for internet clout. I question the authenticity of this image simply due to the fact that most reports of Bigfoot encounter the creature while it is fleeing from humans. Bigfoots don't seem to want anything to do with people if they can help it, and when they do encounter people, they tend to run. Of course, like any wild animal, there are outliers. Maybe this is a particularly dangerous individual, or it could be upset that there is someone invading its habitat. Tell us what you think. Next up, we have another deer caught on a trail cam. This deer, however, is a little more frightening than the previous ones. I don't need to tell you what is wrong with this beast. Between its numerous eyes, legs, and double set of antlers, it is obvious we are looking at some type of supernatural monstrosity. In some ancient and nearly forgotten pagan religions, forest spirits have been described with similar characteristics as this creature we are looking at here. While I don't discredit these mythos, I can't imagine a forest spirit would allow itself to be captured by a trail cam. The more likely explanation is that we are looking at a camera glitch or an edited photo. Even though this image appears to be a fake, I should mention that there are some very real documented cases of animals and people being born with multiple limbs and extra eyes. These situations are most often the result of a creature being born with a parasitic twin attached somewhere to its body. These animals might look frightening, but they are not supernatural creatures, nor are they gods or spirits like some cultures have believed in the past. They are perfectly harmless, and while it is very rare to see a wild animal make it to adulthood with this condition, it is not impossible, nor is it unheard of. In our next clip, we have quite the wild situation. A fearless camera person hears a creature's menacing growls in the night and decides to follow the nightmarish noises into the woods. We can only guess as to what they were thinking. Following angry sounds from an unknown creature seems like a bad idea any time of the day, but especially at night. It could be that this video was fabricated for internet clout, as it is hard to believe someone would be so careless, but we've seen stranger things on this channel. We've been unable to make a positive identification from the audio alone, but the creature sounds like something in the feline family. Perhaps a mountain lion, jaguar, or leopard. We get a brief glimpse of the creature huddled down near the forest floor. The only thing we can tell for certain is that its fur is black. But what could it be? The camera person abruptly comes to their senses and flees the situation when the creature comes into view. This video has made its rounds across internet forums. Most people in the paranormal community have come to the conclusion that the video is a hoax, but there are others that believe this could be a new species of cryptid that has yet to be documented. Let us know what you think about it. Here's something we can say we've never seen before on this channel. Take a look at this dragon skeleton laid out in an open field. It even has what appears to be fresh blood and skin fragments on it. Needless to say, we're a bit skeptical, all things considered. The dragon was found in a Chinese province, but not much is known about its origin. It is very likely we are looking at a hoax that someone went to great lengths to create. After all, if there were dragons living on this earth with us, we would know about them, right? A dragon isn't something that could easily disappear into the remote wilderness like many of the other cryptids we feature on this channel. Well, that's not quite the case. This particular specimen might very well be a fake, but there could be some truth hidden in the story somewhere. Let me take you across the ocean to the Yucatan Peninsula for a moment. There have been a few stories in that area of strange discoveries, possibly involving the remains of dragons. Eyewitness reports claim to have found skeletal remains of these mythical creatures preserved in cenotes or underwater caves. Centos themselves are an interesting phenomenon and can be quite dangerous to explore. The cave systems are dark and easy to get lost in, so exploration of them isn't taken lightly. However, there have been some impressive finds deep in these underwater caves. Researchers have found bones of prehistoric Ice Age creatures as well as ancient humans, but there have been rumors of other finds as well, discoveries that haven't been released to the public as of yet. The creatures they found check just about every box we have for a dragon. And here's the reason this whole dragon theory might not be as far-fetched as we previously thought. These dragons are actually gigantic sea serpents. Think about it for a moment. We've discovered more of outer space than we have of the Earth's deep sea. It's certainly not impossible for a creature to conceal itself in such a place. The reports of the Yucatan dragons are that they have snake-like bodies and lizard-like reptilian heads, often adorned with horns or antlers of some type. The interesting thing regarding the stories of these spectacular finds is that there seems to be some sort of cover-up going on. Twice, eyewitnesses have claimed to have found skeletal remains, and both times the remains were taken away to be studied, and their existence has been denied by scientists ever since. If there was an easy explanation, they wouldn't be so secretive with their answers. Again, none of these eyewitness accounts can be verified, and the evidence of these creatures' existence seems to disappear just as quickly as it is found. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think this Chinese dragon in the image could be real? And what about the stories of the dragon-like sea serpents? Might they actually exist somewhere deep in the ocean, or are they just another myth? Next up, we have an African elephant as it breaks through a fence with a fair amount of determination. Instead of trampling the fence, it merely pushes it aside once it figures out how to open the gate. This just goes to show the intelligence of these impressive creatures. However, this particular elephant is giving us a little more of a show than any of us wanted. Perhaps he had a lady friend on the other side of the gate and was heading for a late-night rendezvous. Either way, I think all of us here just saw enough elephant anatomy for today. Take a look at this still image capturing Bigfoot as it walks through an old growth forest. The owner of this image claims the photograph to be yet another from the Pacific Northwest. With as many sightings coming from the area, we could likely do an entire video on it alone. I wonder what it is about the ecosystem there that seems to create the perfect environment for Bigfoot. but there is no denying that there are more sightings in that area of the United States. The owner of this image said the creature seemed to appear out of nowhere and disappear just as quickly when it realized it was being watched. Unfortunately, Bigfoot makes a habit of eluding evidence of its existence. All we really have on our side is eyewitness encounters, photographs, videos, and tracks. Every time Bigfoot tracks are discovered, they share eerily similar characteristics. If the tracks were being faked, it would reason that we would see more variety among them. The uniformity of these discoveries points towards a creature that exists in our world, though it remains elusive. Our next video features a familiar phenomenon. Orbs are one of the most common supernatural occurrences that we see captured by camera. What they actually are, however, is still a mystery. Those outside the paranormal community believe them to be backscatter from the camera. This is when light or dust particles are reflected off the lens. And while this might be the case for some captures of orbs, it doesn't explain those caught on video, especially when we look at orbs like the one in this video. In paranormal circles, orbs are often considered a sign of supernatural energy. Their origin is unclear. Some theories believe they are created by electromagnetic energy, while others believe them to be spirits. Whatever they are widely regarded to be the manifestation of some type of supernatural energy. This one here appears to be moving in a strangely linear fashion. As to its intention or purpose, your guess is as good as mine. Luckily, the presence of orbs doesn't seem to have any negative effect on humans or animals. If you have any theories on this phenomenon, let us know in the comments section. For our next video, we head to Canada, a little distance away from Kenora, Ontario to be exact. This area is known for the Lake of the Woods. It's a popular spot for hikers, kayakers, and fishermen alike, and it's quite beautiful, I've heard. However, after seeing this footage, I'm not sure I'm going to be planning a trip anytime soon. Take a look at these tracks in the mud. I don't need to tell you what creature they belong to. There's only one creature that makes barefoot, human-like tracks of an unnaturally large size. These particular set of tracks were found by a fisherman who was hiking to a secluded fishing spot in the area. He followed the tracks for a few meters, but they disappeared into the woods. He saw no sign of the creature, but its footprints were proof enough. I'd like to know your thoughts on this next clip. We are viewing video taken from a car that turns off an established road onto a dirt path in a forest. The car drives only a short while before meeting two visitors on the path. They look to be girls, but they are dressed in all white and appear to be glowing. Maybe it's just the headlights of the car causing them to appear that they are glowing, but that seems unlikely. When the car reaches the girls, they turn around. They don't appear to have faces, at least not that we can see from the video. Their whole bodies, skin, faces, and clothes included, are all ghostly white. The driver of the car realizes there is something terribly wrong with these two and backs the car down the path towards the safety of the main road. He escapes unharmed, but who or what were the girls? Were they ghosts, or perhaps something more sinister? Or maybe the footage was faked? You'll have to be the judge. Let us know in the comments. We have another clip of a goat, but this one is quite a bit more frightening in my opinion. I should mention that goats are often associated with witchcraft and devil worship. Whether this connection is mere coincidence or not hasn't yet been proven. But try to explain this. We have a black ram walking across the frame on its hind legs. While it's not uncommon to see goats stand on their hind legs to reach a tasty snack in a tree, goats do not walk like humans as this one is doing. Are we looking at a trained goat fit for the circus, or is there something sinister at work here? Could we be looking at a demon in the form of a ram? There are many stories involving rams and demons that maybe there is something more than mere coincidence, but you can be the judge of that. Whatever is going on here in this video, the walking ram seems to have enchanted the chickens it shares a pen with as they follow it into the shelter. Our last video today is one that has been circling around the internet for some time. We see a creature with the head of a ram and the body of a human. It's even dressed in flannel and blue jeans. While there have certainly been plausible stories of human-like cryptids or hybrids over the years, this is clearly just a man in a mask. We see videos like this fairly often in paranormal circles. These only hurt the paranormal community and make it more difficult to believe in the authentic stories when they come to light. Searching for internet fame is tempting, but faking supernatural footage doesn't help anyone when the majority of us are out here searching for truth. If you liked watching these videos, then consider subscribing. I release videos at least twice a week. Stay frosty and we'll see you in the next one.